Hello, this is the 39th lecture of the Semantic SEO course, and in this lecture we will talk about this column, the article methodology. So usually I use the names that can be understood by the authors in an easy way. That's why I tell them that we are writing an article for these headings and this is the methodology that we will be following. But usually the name of this section is actually the contextual structure. Basically, with every prompt that we are giving to the authors, we determine a contextual flow and a contextual direction. And at the same time, we use certain types of context terms. We use preceding questions. We state the format of the content, tonality of the content, the entities that will be connected to the other entities in a certain way. And we even actually determine the sentence structures or certain types of, let's say, phrase taxonomies or the phrase sequences. So you can tell me that this is pretty similar what you are trying to do with the ChatGPT. The thing is that I was doing the same with the human authors over 5 years. And that's why I am able to create actually like 500 pieces of content or 1000 pieces of content with the trained authors. Because we always use certain types of sentence structures, certain types of methodologies for certain types of headings, questions, or the queries. In my semantic content network case study, there were 2 websites and they were both pilot projects. I started them in the same day, I ended them in the same day. Even one of them actually touched to the 1 million clicks per month. And they didn't, one of them was brand new, and for both of them, I didn't use links at all. And then you'll know that how many other case studies we published in all the languages and the industries. But my main point here is that I always use this methodology. So right now, probably you are thinking of how about we are actually using all these words, all these methodology in ChatGPT or something like that. So entire section here that I am using is around actually 500 words. Now the thing is that ChatGPT, they won't be getting this type of prompts and they will be actually distracting the word sequences, and the perplexity and the burstness, it won't be good enough too. And since it will always be using actually certain types of definitions for certain types of the context transitions, it will be easier for algorithms to catch it. But if you can just insert certain types of word sequences and the context by yourself, just actually managing machine with the micro semantics, then you can actually achieve. Anyway, if we continue with the manual methodology here, basically with certain types of rules, we are actually just making human authors and the experts write in a certain way. And that's why we were able to generate so much content so quickly and for a cheaper cost. Of course, this project is a little bit exceptional because here, instead of, as you remember, vastness, depth, and momentum, we couldn't go vast, and our momentum was good for just a certain amount of time, and that's why we needed to go really, really deep and deeper. And for these type of situations, we usually use real experts. So when you look at the article methodology that I am using in this area, the first thing that I am actually giving is definition of drinking water. Definitions, if I published one of my books, the first book that I will be publishing, it will be explaining this, why definitions are so important. And the definition or definitions, they're actually coming from the Craig Deving manual in Google, and he is a computer scientist. Basically, he is the founder of the Google Dictionary. And basically, he clearly states that in his patents, if you change a single word's definition in the perception of Google, it means that all the semantic distances and all the answers, all the generated questions, all the relevant scores, they all will be changing. And this is what it's happening during the core algorithm updates. They are calculating all the definitions, angles, contexts for certain types of word groups, then they actually launch it one more time. And that's why usually I try to focus on semantics for the last years. So I know that this is a long introduction for the article methodology. I am doing it because this is the most important part. And in the future, we will be writing like 5,000 or 6,000 of words just for the prompts, or we can even create AI systems just for the creation of the prompts. But as I say, in comparative ranking, the real winner always will be coming from the person who understands these things in a deep way. If you are able to optimize things for the micro semantics, you will always have higher relevance and responsiveness. And in this case, I can tell These three columns are for macro semantics. We create our macro semantics with a contextual hierarchy and also a vector, and then we create contextual bridges. But all these things are macro semantics. Whatever happens in this area, these are micro semantics, especially teeny tiny details, word proximities, word co-occurrences, or word sequences, and the discourse integration or the semantic role labels. All these things will be determining who is ranking and who is not. See you in the next lecture.